Peace, Love, Liberty Radio version 4.1. Initializing upgrades. Accessing peace. Existing without violence. With the ability to calmly resolve conflict. Downloading love. An overwhelming, deep, positive affection towards others. Activating liberty. Living your life as you see fit without infringing on the lives of others.
Ashes to ashes, we're falling down. Slaves to the men that stole the crown. There's a warning sign, like a blazing sun. You don't want to see because you're having fun. But those who control all the information celebrate and lie to the people to keep them watching.
Welcome to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at FPPRadio.com. I am your host, Darryl W. Perry, the uncut cocaine of libertarianism, the Wolfman, the Liberty Penguin, the Wombat, and probably some other things that people have called me that should not be said in polite company. We are approaching episode 375. Now, I mentioned a while back that there's going to be a minor tweak to the show at episode 375. We're at episode 371 today. Now, the tweak that you'll hear, it's not going to be anything major, but you will notice a slight auditory change at the beginning of the show. But the format of the show is staying the same. The purpose of the show is staying the same. So it's still going to be, me helping you become a better version of yourself while I'm becoming this better version of myself. And, I saw something online a couple of days ago that said the way you speak to your children becomes their inner voice. And I shared that, and several people said, whenever I say certain things to my kids, I wind up hearing my mother or my father in my head. Or whenever, this happens, this voice, and it's, one of those things of that sounds like something that my parents said. So what I want to focus on now, not how to overcome that, inner voice that has been instilled in your brain for 10, 20, 30, 40 years or more, but how you can make sure that your children don't wind up having that negative inner voice, assuming that you have children, and I know that some of you that listen do. And this relates with the story that I'm going to share. It's sort of one of these tweener sort of things, and you might not be familiar with the word. It's in between. So it connects the, how to talk to your children about success or things that your children need to learn about success. Because I talk about success a good bit, but I talk about it in sort of the abstract of I can't define success for you, and you can't define success for me or for anybody else. It's one of those things to where everybody has to decide for themselves what makes them successful. The article here from Archetypes titled 7 Things You Need to Teach Your Kids About Success. And again, this is very important because I do see this as that go-between of making sure that their inner voice is a positive inner voice, and also teaching your children about success in the abstract. The article begins, children are the future and every parent would want their child to be successful. Yet the parent can actually determine the child's future. How they inculcate values and inspire their kids' actions could help them become achievers. While school is an ideal place to learn, and I'll disagree with that, but again, I'm reading the article here, and I will intersperse my thoughts as I do. The article here says that while school is an ideal place of learning, there is so much that this institution does not teach kids about success. And I would say there's a lot that schooling does not teach kids about things that they actually need to know how to do, and we covered that earlier in the week. That's why I'm a huge proponent of unschooling or homeschooling. The article continues, kids may not learn certain truths about success in school, but parents can as well teach them, and it is better to start early. And yes, parents should be teaching the children things. Again, that's why I advocate homeschooling and unschooling. The article then says, here are 7 things parents need to teach their kids about success. Parents can teach kids that failure is a ladder to success. Now, before I read the paragraph that follows, you have probably heard the claim that Hershey, I forget his first name, I think it was Milton, but Hershey went bankrupt 4 times before he started the Hershey Chocolate Company. And, other famous people that wound up being very financially successful had failing business ventures before they made it big. Thomas Edison, who, he invented some stuff, but he also, for a lack of a better word, borrowed things. Some will say he stole, but then that, gets into the whole intellectual property thing. He borrowed, and I'm using that in air quotes, he borrowed things that he then later claimed an intellectual property claim on. But, a lot of the stuff that he is known for inventing, he actually did not invent. He just, took somebody else's invention and made it better. But there's the quote about, he found 10,000 different ways that a light bulb did not work, and he said, I didn't fail 10,000 times, I just found 10,000 different ways that it didn't work. But here, under failure can be a ladder to success, they say, in school, we were taught that those who fail are the dumb ones. When we fail, we are not rewarded, but success is not about acing every challenge. Rather, it's about understanding that failure is an integral part of success. Parents should not scorn their children for failing, but rather they can teach children how to fail and why it is important to gain courage to rise again even after failure. What's the old saying? Get knocked down 7 times, stand up 8. You need to teach your children perseverance. There's 6 more things. Stay tuned. This is Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
In 1999, Darryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic. Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Darryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com.
It is the year 91,001 BCE. Witness humanity's origins in Hyperchronius, a classic role-playing game for Windows PCs, with a story like no other game before. A liberty-oriented experience that is not to be missed. Go to ZOG.Ninja to get your copy of Hyperchronius today. Use the code FPP to get $1 off. Hyperchronius, ZOG.Ninja, code FPP.
This is Jeremy Scott, host of Dark 30. You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. Going through a list of 7 things that you can teach your children about success. Parents can teach their kids to stand up for themselves, and this is not something that they will necessarily learn in school, because in school, they're taught, sit down, shut up, and do what the teacher tells you. But one key to being responsible and becoming responsible is to stop waiting for others, or rather, to stop waiting for answers and for other people to help. You have to learn to go out there and advocate for yourself. Standing up for yourself doesn't simply mean that kids cry and whine for those things they deserve, but to be unequivocal in making their demands and knowing how to ask for what they need. And also, if you're being bullied and the teacher doesn't do anything, as my dad told me one time, actually he told me several times, the next time that happens, punch the kid in the nose. And, well, then there's one day my dad got a telephone call from the principal that said, Mr. Perry, you need to come pick up your son from school. He got into a fight. And my dad said, what happened? And they told him, and he said, yes, and probably some other things. I wasn't on the phone conversation, but my dad's relayed the story numerous times about how he, basically celebrated. And the principal said, well, Mr. Perry, you need to come see me, and Darryl can't return to school until you do. And so, they had a meeting that I actually sat in on, and they're like, well, it doesn't matter that Darryl was being bullied. You can't just, punch somebody in the nose for being a bully. And my dad said, well, the teachers never did anything about the bullying. And they're like, well, that's because they have other things that they need to do. So, yeah, standing up for yourself. It's not just, knowing, as they say here, knowing how to ask for what you need, but also, not getting pushed around physically or emotionally. Parents should also show their kids that hard work is good. There's nothing wrong with working extra hard for things that you desire. While it is okay to have big dreams and goals, you should know that your kids would only reach the top if they're willing to put in the work required. Success is not gifted, but earned. Now, there are some people that, and I'm going to pause right here, and this is why I think it's very important to define success in ways other than just financially well off. Because there are people that are, born into fairly wealthy families, and those people don't necessarily have to try hard to wind up being financially well off. But a lot of the people that are born into these, financially successful families are not people that would be necessarily successful per se. Yes, it's nice to be able to not have to worry about money, but that's not the only thing that defines success. So some people might look and be like, well, this guy, his parents just gave him a bunch of money and he's able to, live off of the interest of whatever and blah, blah, blah. He's successful. No, he's financially well off, not successful. This continues by saying parents should not only preach or teach this quality, that is, that hard work is good, but they should also show their kids the relevance of hard work. And again, this goes back to what they say at the beginning, is that it's good to have big goals and dreams, but know that your dreams won't come true unless you work towards them. Parents, and again, this is 7 things that parents can teach their children about success. Parents should let their children understand why it is important to be patient. And this is something that a lot of people don't really understand, is patience. People, and especially in this, the now generation, or whatever we're calling this, to it, the instant gratification of, I want it now. I can, order a pizza now, and I can do this now. I can place my order for Applebee's online, and by the time I show up, my food is ready, and I don't have to wait at all because waiting is for suckers. Ha ha ha. Well, sometimes waiting is good, and you can't always get what you want right now. Sometimes you do have to wait. So the paragraph here up under parents teaching children the importance of being patient, it says, while this is a hard concept for people of all ages, the need to delay gratification is a predictor of success. Parents should teach their kids that if they want something, there is nothing wrong with waiting and saving to buy it. So, I know that there are some parents that they might give their kids some allowance or something, and then, the kids will be like, I want to go buy this toy. And then they go to the store, and the kid goes to buy the toy, and they hand over whatever amount of money they have, and the cashier is like, yeah, it's, a lot more than this. And the parents are like, oh, it's okay, just put it on my card. And they don't teach the kids the actual value of, well, no, little Timmy, you don't actually have enough money to buy this toy. But I want this toy! Well, it doesn't matter, little Timmy. You don't have the money. You need to save up your allowance even more. And, well, this goes back to the hard work thing. If you're just giving your kids an allowance because they exist, well, you're not teaching them that, things have value. You're just teaching you earn money for existing, not you need to sweep the floor or take out the trash or, take care of the dog, walk the dog, empty the cat's litter box, etc. You're not teaching them that work gets rewarded. You're teaching them that existence gets rewarded. And that is, I would dare say, a very dangerous lesson to teach your children. Next on the list of 7 things that parents can teach their children about success, parents should help their children set goals. At an early age, children should understand the importance of setting goals and actualizing them. Of course, parents can help them realize this importance and set goals that would fulfill their desires and measure their progress in life. I talk a lot about setting goals, so I don't need to go into depth on this, but there's 2 more things that parents can teach their children about success. Stay tuned to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
Coinbase is a simple and secure online Bitcoin wallet for sending, receiving, and storing Bitcoin. Coinbase also allows you to buy and sell Bitcoin using a bank account or use their tools to accept Bitcoin as a merchant. Coinbase has more than 1 million consumer wallets and is trusted by over 25,000 merchants, including Overstock.com, Khan Academy, Reddit, and of course, FPP. Get started at coinbase.fppradio.com. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry.
Hey, welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. Going through the list of 7 things that parents need to teach their kids about success. Recap here, parents can and should teach their kids that failure is a ladder to success. Teach children to stand up for themselves. Show them that hard work is good. Teach them why it is important to be patient. Help your children set goals. Parents should also teach their kids the importance of giving. Now, you might think here, well, when I was a kid, I remember that, one of my cousins or my brother or a neighbor or, fill in the blank who would come over and we'd be playing with toys and I would share my toys and, that was good. Or we'd be playing and they would have a toy that I wanted to play with and so I'd just grab it and then my mom or dad or aunt or uncle or, fill in the blank, whoever the, grown adult human was, would come over and say, no, little Timmy, you have to let him play with this. Well, all right, so let me stop right there and say that if the parents are telling you, or if you're telling your children that they can't play with a toy that is theirs, and I'm using the theirs in air quotes there, then it's not really their toy, it's your toy. You are the owner, and you're then dictating who gets to play with the thing. If you actually believe in property rights, and I'm guessing that most of the people that listen to my program do, because, this is targeted towards libertarians, so we, in theory, believe in property rights, right? But if you're telling your children that they can't, claim ownership of a toy that is, nominally theirs, you bought it and gave it to them, well, then, you're not teaching them property rights or the actual value of giving. And I realize that those might seem contradictory here. But it says we live in a mean and selfish world. Empathy may have been encouraged in kindergarten, but as children grow up, they tend to focus more on themselves and stop caring about others. And this is where that property thing comes in. No, this is mine. I want it. I don't care about your happiness. And there are some people that are like, well, that's good. You should not care about other people. No, that doesn't make you, a good person. That makes you an a-hole. Children and adults should be taught that empathy is imperative to success in life and what they do in the workforce. Certainly, showing empathy when showing empathy, they can learn to use the right words, such as, I'm sorry, please, thank you, etc. during conversations. And also, empathy is valuable because it's one of those things of maybe you've never been in a situation of being homeless or not knowing where your next meal is going to come from, or whatever, fill in the blank scenario of someone that, is down on their luck, someone less fortunate than you. Maybe you've never been there, but you might be there. So it's one of those things of, you pay it forward of, maybe one day I will be in this situation. So I want to help those that are there now in, sort of in hopes that if I'm in that situation, others will help me. Or maybe it's, I've been in this situation. I know what this is like. I want to help somebody get out of this situation. And we've talked on this show before the importance of empathy. I'll try to find that episode and put it in the show notes. And the final thing that they say that parents should teach their children about success. Parents should teach their kids focus. Life has a lot of complexities. Yes, parents are busy and may not have the time to fully monitor all of the activities of their children. Yet they can engage in tasks that will help their kids stay focused on achieving goals. And this is one of the things that the unschooling really focuses on, to where you allow your children to decide what it is they're interested in, and then you guide their education in that area. Whereas with homeschooling, it's a lot more like regular school, to where you're, nope, little Timmy, here's your subjects. Today you're doing English for 2 hours, and then you're studying history, and then you're doing math, and then you're doing this. And little Timmy's like, but I want to learn about dinosaurs. Doesn't matter, little Timmy. You've got to do math for the next 2 hours. But I don't want to do math. I want to learn about dinosaurs. An unschooled parent would say, all right, cool, let's learn about dinosaurs. Let's go to the dinosaur museum, or let's go dig for fossils. Let's rent a documentary about dinosaurs. Let's learn about dinosaurs. So you're helping your child focus on what they want to learn. You're not trying to force your children to learn what you want them to learn, if that makes sense. The article here concludes, children, and they keep using the word kid. I prefer children if we're talking about, tiny little humans. Children should learn there is more to the world around them than simply spending a bulk of their time on electronic devices. It is a real challenge for them to stick to a particular task and follow through. It's up to the parents to involve the children in activities that will inculcate discipline and focus. This link, as always, will be in the show notes, and there's something that kind of fits with it about why successful people are not afraid of rejection. That link will be in the show notes as well. This is Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at weusecoins.com. That's weusecoins.com. Why do they hate us? Is libertarianism compatible with Islam? Davi Barker answers these questions and more in Voluntary Islam and Other Essays. He advances the voluntarist cause with analysis of the confluence of values between Islam and libertarianism, as well as contemporary movements from the Tea Party to the Arab Spring. Voluntary Islam by Davi Barker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. Here in the final moments, and I know I've talked about this a good bit recently, and that is my lobbyist firm, Liberty Lobby LLC. I want to make sure that I tell you about what's going on during the month of October. And I sent this announcement out last Friday, the last day of September, that all monthly donors to Liberty Lobby LLC who sign up before October 31st will be added to the Founders Committee. But maybe you don't want to donate monthly. Maybe you're not able to, set aside $3, $5, $10, $15, $20, whatever per month. Maybe you just want to do a one-time donation, but you still want to be part of that Founders Committee. Because, people like having their name up on list of, hey, look at this. I donated to this good cause, and I got appreciated. Well, you can still do a one-time donation as well and get listed on that Founders Committee if your donation or contribution is over $50. So everybody who from the start of Liberty Lobby LLC back in June through October 31st, who makes a one-time contribution of $50 or more, and all monthly donors will wind up being on that Founders Committee. And the reason that I'm stressing that I'm looking for recurring contributors is because the purpose of Liberty Lobby LLC is to meet a financial goal, and that financial goal is about $417 per month. Not a huge amount of money, but, it's one of those things. I can begin focusing more on the actual concept of lobbying and move away from fundraising. And right now, it's a one-man operation. So I'm the fundraising department, I'm the lobbyist, I'm the bill reviewer, I'm everything at Liberty Lobby LLC. And I'm not a for-hire lobbyist, so you can't just, send a bunch of money and say, I want you to lobby on X. That's not how, this lobbyist firm is operating. Liberty Lobby LLC is going to advocate maximum freedom. And if you go to the website, libertylobby.xyz, you can learn more about the lobbyist firm, what the goals are, what bills and committees will be focused on. libertylobby.xyz. And don't forget, every Wednesday I answer your questions. Send those over.
The podcasts of FPP Radio are licensed under Copy Heart. We believe that copying is a form of flattery and do not abide by the copyright laws. Those laws serve to restrict the flow of ideas which no one can really own. Copying is an act of love. Love is not subject to law. If you enjoy the show, consider joining the Fans program and get perks like ad-free versions of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio and FPP Radio News, and also get a copy of the monthly newspaper FPP News. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.